sent off. Let's face it.
Yeah,
it was quite smart. So that's the only slight, sort of blot on the landscape from that 90-odd minutes. But yeah, it's lovely to see the likes of, Clara charging forward with the ball at his feet. Cochrane's quality from out wide is fantastic to see. And the relationship between May and Stansfield, if they are going to swap between being in the 9 and 10 positions, that's only going to get better with more games that they play together.
100%, yeah. And again, I've never seen us have so much strength in depth either. Like you say, you've got players coming off the bench that are just as good, as the ones that are going off. And I mean, you mentioned Cochrane there, Dance, and for me, he's just been absolute. I mean, a lot of them have been magnificent, but for me, Cochrane, that cross for the second goal was just, I mean, it was giving me Martin Granger vibes again, and I've said that before on here, that he just reminds me so much of him. His left peg, the way he plays, his physical presence as well as challenge. We've
been blessed with a lot of fantastic left-backs in my lifetime watching Blues. And I'll throw John Frayne in there as one of my personal favourites. And, of course, Pat Vandenhouwe, Julian Dix, Mark Dennis.
Yeah.
And then the whole Granger thing, I mean, God, we all loved him so much, and what a servant.
Yeah.
But, yes, Cochrane appears to have that. He appears to have both sides of the game intact. He can defend as well. He's not just a fancy down left-back. He can defend. He understands the principles of, getting involved. I just want us to start keeping clean sheets.
Yeah, me too, yeah.
I just want us to start, one or two, just to make me feel a little bit better. It's not quite the Barry Fry, you score 2, we'll score 3 philosophy that Chris Davies has got. That's what Barry had. But I'm sure that's what they all want. They want to start a couple of shutouts just to make themselves feel better about when they're getting those tight games, when one goal's going to decide it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the third goal, obviously, for Iwata was just wow. As soon as he hit that, it's in the back of the net.
I thought he'd have taken a touch. I honestly thought, that must have taken a touch to deceive the keeper. But, and it wasn't until the final angle that I saw on the replay when it was clear, no, that never took any touch off anybody. That's just a glorious hit. And a few Celtic fans, weren't that perturbed to see him let go. And I don't really understand why, because all I've seen and heard is real positive stuff.
Yeah.
About Iwata. So, long may it continue.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we've got a great team there now, and I think a lot of them as well are championship ready. I'm going to say for when we go up, not if we go up, because I'm that confident. So when we do go up for next season, I'm confident that a lot of those players could be pitting their wits in even the top 10 of the championship as well.
That's precisely why they've been brought in. It's precisely why they've been brought in. That's what it's all about. This isn't a short-term fix.
No.
There's clearly a design. They've been sold a dream. They've been sold a whole, for the want of a better word, a project.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is not something that's short-termist. They're thinking, right, you stay with us on this little journey, and we can go through the divisions together and create something very special. I'm sure that's exactly what they're after.
Yeah, 100%, yeah. But yeah, and that keep right on as well before kickoff, man, it was just, I haven't heard it sang like that for a long time. And Mark, I'll come on to you, Mark Adams. I mean, what was going on? That keep right.
Well, it was like it's like going back 15 or 20 years, wasn't it? It was like going back to the early 2000s again. It was just superb. It was like a Premier League game again, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think we've talked. Dan's mentioned about the Villa game all those years ago, and it was just like that. Yeah. Honestly, it was just. It was so good to have the old Blues back. And I know it sounds corny, but that's what we've missed, Yeah. And it was, I mean, you've seen all the videos of people at Moore Street say they could hear us singing, and you could hear the noise. And I think the next morning, I wasn't doing any work at work. I was just watching my phone, looking at all the pictures and all the videos and everything.
Yeah.
I've got a disciplinary coming up about that, to be honest. But no, it's just super. I mean, we're all buzzing now, and it's so different to April or May. It was just.
Yeah.
I've got to give a shout out to Pike as well. He was superb.
Pake's outstanding. Him and Iwata together are just a hell of a partnership.
But to be honest, Paul, I think back in it was only April, May. You'd say, well, if you had to sacrifice him or Miyoshi, you wouldn't bat an eyelid if Pake went.
No,
but it's gone full circle, and now he's one of the first names on the team sheet.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
Superb.
Yeah, excellent player. Yeah.
Brilliant night.
Are you at Coventry at the moment, Dance? Coventry's great.
Yes, yeah, that's right. I'm in the bowels of the CBS Arena because I'm about to go up and start work on the cup tie between Coventry and Spurs. That's right. That's my work tonight for TalkSport 2.
Yeah, okay, no problem at all. So yeah, I know you can only obviously give us so much of your time for that. So, but yeah, I mean, in general, you know, we've all got that spring in our step now to go back down to St Andrews and watch us, you know, and we've got players now that are just giving you that spring in your step to watch as well.
Well, it's funny. I've been talking to one or two of the Spurs staff here tonight, and of course they've been. He's doing all right for you, and we knew he would, you know, because that Chris was working with Ange Postecoglou last year, and you know the Spurs staff that I've been speaking to here are well aware of Chris's talents, and of course the news of us bringing Tom Huddleston in today.
I was about to
as a coach. I loved watching him. I think I saw him make his debut for Derby when he was about 12. Yeah. But he still looked 26 then. And there's that goal against Manchester City. I don't know if you guys remember it. It had like a daisy cutter volley hit right along the deck and screaming into the bottom corner. If he'd been slightly quicker, had slightly more pace about his game, he'd have won double figures caps for England. Yeah. Tom Huddleston. He was a fantastic player. Yeah. The king of the dink. Yeah. So to have him involved coaching is intriguing, replacing Ashley Cole. Don't know what you guys think about that appointment.
Yeah, I think it's great. There between Tom Huddleston and Chris Davies, I guess, as well with the Spurs thing. I do think if Tom Huddleston was maybe 10, 12 years younger, he would have had a lot more England caps. Certainly over the last decade, you know, when you look at players that have been in the squad, he was certainly better than some of those midfielders that we've had.
Yeah, he just wasn't quite quick enough, though. Paul, unfortunately, didn't have quite that turn of pace to get him away from a defender. But if he was allowed to run a game, then he did.
Yeah, but when he played though, he was up against Gerrard, Lampard, Scholes. Yeah. You know what I mean? We haven't had we haven't had embarrassment of riches, have we, over the last?
Maybe.
Yeah, but no, it's Craig. Obviously, exciting. Monday night under the lights, it was just special, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, before it even started, the one thing for me that just made it almost extra special was the screen's working fully. Mr. Blue Sky comes on and you've got the Blues badge on the big screen. And then in the background, just a pure fire of a sky, which was just... Oh, yeah, that was amazing. Almost as though, you know, the sun is rising over St Andrews. And that's, you know, it was perfect. And, you know, Mark, you mentioned there about keep right on. Yeah, it was good. But I've asked a few people, and Dance and Mr. Chairman and Chris, you'll know this more. Mm-hmm. I asked my dad. He was always down there back in the 60s, 70s. His words were, because I FaceTimed him, and he was like, "It was good, but it was too fast."
Really?
Now I don't put thoughts to that, but to him, he still said that it was sang too fast.
Yeah. Yeah, it was slow. It was quite slow in the 70s.
That's just natural excitement, isn't it? That's just adrenaline coursing through the veins. They want to get through the song because they reckon there's another goal just around the corner. That's all that is. They, you know, to get through the chorus a bit quicker because they reckon we're going to notch another. Maybe so. Maybe. I mean, it was great to hear that atmosphere coming out. All right, it was coming out of my iPad, but you could tell. And the limbs for Iwata's goal was fantastic as well to see that. I mean, the limbs for Scott Wright's goal were great enough on the highlights, but it's nice. It's just nice. Well, look, from my perspective as a national broadcaster, I see a lot of the hate that's coming our way because of who we are, what we're doing, and how we're going about doing it. But I don't care.
No,
you know. We're triggering people for all the wrong reasons. You know, we seem to be rubbing people up the wrong way when people aren't in possession of anything like the facts. So we're going to have to keep dealing with that as fans and keep just, when they go low, we go high, not resort to sort of, you know, coming back at them, because we're going to get these barbs and these quips and these jokes all season about what we're doing.
Just on that subject. On that subject, Dance, on Sky Sports, did you see the ex-player last weekend on Sky Sports, female?
Yes.
I don't know her name, sorry.
Courtney Sweetman-Kirk.
Yeah, she was talking about us, and it was so obvious that she'd done no research on us whatsoever.
I saw that.
I know Courtney. I've worked with Courtney. I've done games with her, and she normally is extremely well prepared. She may have been caught on the hop by a question about Birmingham that she wasn't expecting.
Possibly, yeah.
But yeah, it's very easy for those outside to look in and think that we're flouting regulations or that we're cocking a snook at the rest of the league. And I know if I was a supporter of a club in mid-table, I would probably be slightly envious if I was in their position looking at what we're doing. I can't deny it. I can't pretend, it wouldn't bother me. Of course it would bother me. But we can't let it bother us. We have to just concentrate on all the good stuff that we're doing on and off the pitch. Yeah. And everyone else's opinion be damned.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, and my God, do we deserve this as well after what we sat through over the best part of the last 12, 13 years? If any fan base deserves, something to smile at, it's us.
There's one or two on this panel who'll remember what it was like 30 years ago, the last time at this level.
Yeah, mate, yeah.
It's the same, but it's different. Because if you think about it, we should have stayed up that season when we went down in 94. Barry couldn't keep us up. But there was a new ownership model in place. The stadium was being rebuilt. It's funny how these sort of parallels kick in. Although Barry, of course, went about it a very different way, sort of collecting strikers like Dave Regis and Miguel de Souza and Ken Charlery and goodness knows what. I think we ended up with 48 professionals on the books when he quit. Or when he was asked to move on in 96. But I can see there's a lot of similarities. And we weren't particularly liked then as a club. I seem to remember Brentford and Oxford and Huddersfield were a bit annoyed at us being in that division and bringing in Claridge and Devlin and Daesh and Michael Johnson like we did, because we were busy in that transfer market, but we certainly weren't spending the millions that we are now. But I love it. I love the fact that we're a talking point again, but in a positive way.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And Mark Meredith, we've got a hell of a squad there, haven't we? I've never known us have, like I said earlier, so much strength in depth. And as a coach yourself, obviously, I guess that's important, isn't it? If we're going to go run away with this division, it's important to have that, isn't it? Because we will have injuries and suspensions along the way.
100%, yeah. At times right now, I think it's hard on Davis to be able to pick an 18. But he also believes that in the strength he's got, I think that substitute bench can almost change every week. We didn't see, for whatever reason, the other Japanese kid on the bench on Monday.
Yokoyama.
There's a few, and then just you still got Sanderson to come back when he gets back, and we talked about the goalkeeper. If we change the goalkeepers around, we're still going to have a pretty good goalkeeper on the bench, whoever that is to play. So the squad, I know we spoke about it a couple of weeks ago. The squad right now is fantastic, and you can almost pick we almost pick out 11 each week, which is pretty much the same of the strongest ones. I think for me, you put Laird back in there, and then that's probably the team moving forward of the best 11 you have, apart from like the argument with the goalkeeper, I suppose. But just going back to the game, like obviously I'm watching it from America, so just on TV, but it was one of them ones where I miss going to Blues obviously anyway for the last 10 years, but it was one of them ones when you sat there and went, I really want to be there tonight. It was the atmosphere and everything, and just getting pictures and videos sent from my friends and my dad and whatever else. And just hearing it, like Dan said, just hearing it through the iPad and the screen, you're like just jealous of you guys. Then you want to be there and do it, but it was, we were far more superior than Wrexham after, like as you said, Stansfield's first goal. And it was a joy to watch, and long may it continue. I'm still I'm still sitting there going, I'm taking one game at a time. I'm not gonna get overhope with everything, but I think if we continue to play and do what we're doing, then it can only get better and better as the season goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Paul, I've got to leave you in a minute because I've got some work to do. But the one thing that did make me smile was you may have seen the clip of David Beckham explaining to the Champions League broadcasters, Michael Richards, Kate Abdo, about telling Tom Brady what we were singing, and I assume he's referring to the song about where you can stick Deadpool.
Yeah.
And apparently, this is what Keith, my mate, was walking back under the bridge at Bawdsley to go back to New Street to get the train home, and a Wumpty bus came past, or a WM bus came past, and it had the Deadpool Wolverine advert on the side of the bus. So there's hundreds of Blues fans who circle this poor bus driver who doesn't know what's going to do. You can stick your Deadpool. But he surrounded this bus and wouldn't let him go. He carried on outside the stadium as well, which is brilliant. More of the same, please.
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, Dan, we'll let you get off, mate, to your duties, and have a good night, mate. Enjoy the game, and thanks for giving up 20 minutes, half an hour of your time, mate.
Always a pleasure to speak to you, fellas. Take it easy, all right?
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Excellent.
Paul,
Yeah, go on, Al. Come on, you now, mate.
I'd just like to say that I have no idea what Deadpool is. I thought it was the pond in Cannonall Park. I really didn't.
You're not
It was
far
like
off.
that after Monday. Oh, that definitely was the case.
The other thing I was going to say regards what other supporters think of us. Well, I don't give a damn, to be honest. But I've always said, whenever I've been involved with competitive sport, and it's true, if you want to win the league, whether it's League One or the local table tennis league, what you need is better players than everybody else. Not just better players than you've got.
Yeah.
You need better players than everybody else has got. And it's the first time, that's a great philosophy to have, but putting it into place is not so easy. But this lot have done that.
Yeah.
We've got all the best players in the league by a country mile. And one of the things that got to me watching the TV on Monday was the constant talk about Wrexham this, Wrexham that, and they've had a Netflix and they've done this. And then they started talking about players. And I've got to be honest, before that, I wouldn't have been able to tell you one player in the Wrexham side. And then they're talking about their strikers. They're both 29, 30. And we've got, and they, what's his name, McLean. I mean, he's been around longer than the bull ring. And then who else was it?
Mullin.
Fletcher.
When he come on, I thought, goodness me, he must be 40. and I sat there thinking, we've got to be better than this lot, surely. And of course, when the goal went in, I'm thinking, well, perhaps they've got some secret. But then I didn't worry. I thought, well, we'll settle down in a minute because you can't. The running they did for that first 20 minutes to keep us penned back, you couldn't keep that up for much longer. And it slowed down, and we started to play, and the goal went in, and that was a smashing. I know it was, he said it was a tap in, but it wasn't. He come back off the keeper like a rocket, and he nipped in between them two defenders and put it away superbly. And that's when I thought, yeah, it's coming now. And I was surprised we only went in one at half time. And the two goals, goodness me. Guess better than sex, that was. It really was. Unbelievable. And you know...
What's sex? Comes up before 7, doesn't it?
You'll smile at this, Paul, but I'll tell you what they reminded... It reminded me of watching Celtic play Kilmarnock, which I did earlier. There was such a difference in class at that point.
Yeah.
You're thinking... These shouldn't be in the same league as us. And they probably, as Dan said, they're probably going to be there or thereabouts at the end of the season. And we were a country mile away from them.
Yeah.
And, okay, you don't want to get too cocky, but Rotherham on Saturday is another problem. They will cause us problems to start with, and we've got to overcome it. And Dan's right, let's keep a clean sheet. If we can keep a clean sheet for 20 minutes, it'll be a one-horse race.
Yeah.
And it was so satisfying on all these levels. To me, it was so satisfying. We've proved that we're better than all these. we proved that we've spent our money wisely, because the bloke that cost 15 million quid scored 2 goals that with nobody in this league would have got near. And we, even to the point where we played with 10 men and still didn't get any problems. It was such an overwhelming achievement. I just,
we still haven't got out of second gear.
We haven't gelled yet.
We have not. We haven't seen the best of these players, and it's actually quite scary because we are putting the sword to teams at the moment, which, okay, some people would say we should do, but actually, we go back to the start of the season when we all said it's not a God-given rule that we're going to walk this league and we're going to win it and we're going to get promoted. But what we're seeing so far is a team that has an element of fight that doesn't disappear. All you've mentioned, the fitness levels, it's phenomenal.
Massive.
Absolutely hugely different. And for those that, Mr. Meredith, you mentioned it, there was Brady's guys were actually doing warm-ups, weren't they, with them in the tunnel beforehand. Yeah. So they've got certain routines that they are following. But we're still to see the best of this team. Yeah. And in fact, have we seen, and it's a question to our listeners, have we yet seen our best 11?
I don't think we're far off it now. To be honest, like you said earlier, Mark Meredith, possibly led at right back, and I think Leonard can feel hard done by if he doesn't get in, because I think he's a player as well. I like the look of Yokoyama as well when he has appeared. So like I said earlier, we've got players to come on, that are as good as the ones going off as well. So, or not far off. So yeah, we've
I think that's the
go on, mate.
So, Paul, I think that's the crazy thing is that in that 11, we're not mentioning like Anderson and then Leonard and people that you'd pretty much put in your 11 any other time. So it's scary to think that the 7 players on the bench are good enough to play in any 11 in that division week in, week out.
Yeah. I just want to talk about when we arrived on Monday night. We got there for about 10 to 7, and honestly, the amount of people there at that time, an hour and 10 minutes before kick. I know people were looking out for, David Beckham and, Rob, is it Rob McElhenney? Is that
yeah, close enough.
You don't know him either.
I don't know who Rob McElhenney.
He played for Arsenal, don't worry about it.
What I said to my, I took a big intake of breath. I thought, my God, am I at the right ground here or what? If you'd have told me this 2 years ago when I was sat there watching Jonathan Lecco, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So is this the same club or what? But, now it's like, really, I said to my daughter, I reckon we're going to get to a stage where people are segregating outside the stadium like this for signings, when we're signing players. Yeah. Can you imagine that? People turning up in their thousands, like they do at Real Madrid and like they do at the bigger clubs when there's a big signing. I'm not saying we're going to get to Real Madrid's level, don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is we're going to be that excited about who we're signing within the next sort of 4 or 5 years, let's say, that we're all going to be outside the stadium greeting the players when they actually sign for us. What do we think?
Do you think we'll get to the stage where we're actually welcoming the away teams with flares and so forth? Like they do, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Possibly. But I mean, can you imagine that? A signing, and we've got as many fans outside waiting to greet that signing as many as what we're waiting for David Beckham to arrive.
That's going to happen. It's got to.
Yeah.
Let's face it, when you go by, Monday night, it wasn't just this country and a few pockets in Europe that were sitting down and watching that game. Right? The world was watching that.
Yeah.
And when you look at, so that day, the very first thing that they did to build that day up was the announcement of Delta. That is phenomenal. Delta, Mark Meredith, you'll know from being out in the States, but as I understand it, Delta are twice, if not 3 times the size of Emirates in terms of an airline and in terms of revenue and income. So they started off by announcing that. Then there's the banter that was going backwards and forwards. That didn't just stop Tom Brady, which I thought was brilliant with his trophies, incidentally. But then you had Eli doing stuff. Then they brought in good old Mr. Wolverine himself to do some talking about it as well. So he was hyping it up before you go in. The ground, well, I was there at about 6:20, and it was ridiculous. I mean, firstly, I've never, ever been to that ground and saw signposts to guide you on where to go in. Right? I've never been there where you've been swabbed by a metal detector to go through the gate.
No.
You know, people 4 and 5 deep in some areas just to try and catch a glimpse of the people that were going into the stadium. Limousines just lined up. You know, it was weird.
It was
but you know what? It's potentially is the future of this club, because today we've had the announcement of the new Nike deal for the next few years. For those that have already seen it, the interviews, you've got Pepsi, you've got Heineken, you've got Nike, you've got Delta, all across the back of those. So are we now waiting for something to be said about Pepsi? You know, we now waiting for Heineken to
Amazon as well, Craig. Amazon, there's
Amazon,
Amazon documentary as well.
There's just so much that I think is still to come. And the interviews and the build up again, one of the things that I read was that this week, that Delta announcement was the start of many other companies that are going to be announced.
Yeah.
Now, we talked about players we've signed. We've talked about people that think we're flaunting the rules. Actually, if all the revenue that this is producing comes out to be to the figures that people are banding about,
crazy figures,
we have no worry for financial fair play. And not just that, we could go out and spend more. And you know what? Wagner himself has said the spending hasn't stopped.
No.
That scares the life out of me. I'm not going to lie, I think it's brilliant, but it scares me because I don't know, you know, we've won a League Cup, we've been in the Premier League, but I don't know about you guys, but I'm more excited now than I have ever been as a fan.
I think
it's just weird.
I think we've got a guest on line one. Have we?
Hello, guys.
Oh,
Tom Brady.
Who are you? Who are you?
Is that Claire? Is that you, Claire?
It is me, yeah. Hello.
Oh, are you all right?
I'm good, yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Good, yeah. Good.
So what's your feeble excuse for not being on tonight then? Come on, tell all the listeners, why are you not joining us on what is a phenomenal night on Tilton Talk?
Disgusting.
Because it's my anniversary, so I've managed to get 5 minutes. So I'm not in the doghouse.
Where are
It's
you?
a feeble excuse. She's in the doghouse, I heard.
Yeah,
I'm in the doghouse.
she will be.
Happy anniversary, Claire.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
How many years?
2.
2.
That's gone quick, isn't it?
Yeah.
Two years.
Never last.
It gets
It'll
worse.
never last.
Who said that?
Yeah. I think as well, I know we're a blues podcast, but rivalries aside and all that for a few seconds, I just want to obviously mention the sad passing of Gary Shaw on Monday as well. And, you know, it was sad news. At one point it came out and, you know, it wasn't true. And then sadly it was announced that it was true on Monday after. So, yeah, sad, obviously a very sad day on Monday, wasn't it, when we found that out?
Yeah.
You know, to me, I know there's rivalries there and everything else, but you know that guy to them was equally as important and probably arguably as important as Trevor Francis was to us. And the one thing I did like was that we didn't see the stupid comments coming out of Blues fans, and in fact, it was reciprocated in terms of the condolence messages that were across social media. So, yeah, you know what I mean? Football is a family at the end of the day. We all come together. We've all got our different thoughts and we've all got our different teams. But the one thing is we come together as one when there's sad times. And yeah, it was a fitting, and dare I say, I know people will absolutely hate me for this. The fact that they won last night was actually quite a fitting tribute to him across the European space. But that's the last time I'm mentioning them.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Claire, Monday night. Talk to me about Monday night and that keep right on before kick-off, and just give us your quick overview on the game as well.
Wow, Monday. I mean, I'm still absolutely buzzing. It was just incredible, wasn't it? The atmosphere was like back in the Premier League days. My dad came for the first time since we won the Carling Cup final, and he wanted to come again. Yeah, he was like, if we've won the Carling Cup, I'll probably never see us win another one. And then he went, I'm not going to come again. And then he turned up and he was just impressed with everything. I think that we made a difference. I thought the atmosphere was just spine-tingling at times, especially the keep right on. The slow version was just absolutely insane.
Yeah.
When obviously they went ahead, you kind of were like, oh, okay, this is different. But I think we just blew them away. I can't believe that they were anywhere near the top of the league. I think that they only had one game plan, which was to hit it forward to the big man at the top.
Yeah.
And we just absolutely ran the show. I thought Cochrane was brilliant. Iwata and Paik in the middle just ran it. I was a bit sceptical about Jay and May and how they were. Like, you had Jay at number 9 and then May at 10, but it did work.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just so positive, isn't it? You know, where even the subs that come on, you just go, wow, like they could be in any championship team.
Yeah, 100%. And was you outside when David Beckham arrived or anything like that? Was you round outside the Kop before kick-off?
I got to the ground about 2 hours before.
Wow.
I didn't see Beckham and that lot go in.
What you say, Mark?
Claire's still there at the ground.
Yeah, she's not on a night out really. She's actually ringing us from the Kop reception.
Yeah, I'm just sat there, like on the steps, still sat there, just wondering when the game's going to start.
No, locked in the ladies and gents. She's locked in the ladies.
You're on the amphitheatre waiting for Gary Neville to come back out.
Yeah, I'm gutted. Like, I just wanted to see him. Doesn't matter about Beckham, but who would have thought 5 years ago, well, even 2 years ago, would have Tom Brady, David Beckham sat there watching us, like, and then during the Champions League, we're getting talked about. It's just, I feel like we're living in a dream at the moment.
Yeah. I know, it's surreal, isn't it? And I said earlier as well, you know, that when people are segregated outside in their numbers like that, you know, you'd like to think eventually we'll get to a stage where we're doing that for actual signings when we sign players. You know, imagine that. There's about like 5,000 people outside when someone signs for us.
I think it will happen. I think we're just building. I think we're getting people from all over the world to watch us. I mean, we had somebody who does podcasting in LA, didn't we, come over and things like that.
Was it Dark Time or something?
Yeah, we're getting Universal, which just brings more money. And, you know, Delta Airlines and Pepsi and all these. I mean... Who would have thought?
Yeah. Has anyone answered?
I'm actually talking about Birmingham City here. I've got, you know what I mean? So I don't know about you, but I still, again, feel like pinching myself thinking,
it's weird.
Are we really talking about Blues?
I think
this is the same fact.
Yeah, people have said it for years. People have said it for years. The potential, you know, in this city,
there's loads to come.
It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible potential.
It's massive. Yeah.
It was great. Just going on that, like obviously me being in the States, Monday was a bit surreal because it was. You know, it was live on CBS Sports to start with, so pretty much, you know, everybody in the States could watch it, and then a lot of it was to do with obviously Wrexham more than Birmingham at the time. But then it showed, you know, I had, you know, it's like parents, the kids that I coach here, they know Birmingham City because they see my tattoo on my leg, right? They don't know anything about the club and stuff like that, but. Just getting texts and calls off them after the game saying, you know, I can't believe that. I watched it. The fans are amazing. The game was great. These players are fantastic. And just, you know, 10, 15 of those calls from people that probably didn't even know what St. Andrews and stuff was about, you know, 2 hours before. So it's fantastic to be able to have that. And then for the whole world, as Craig said earlier, not just, you know, in England, but the whole world watching going, wow, this was a really, really good game of, you know, two teams that probably shouldn't be in League One against each other, and we got the better of it. So it's fantastic for us.
Yeah, is that the Bo Brummie tattoo you're talking about, Mark, that you've got?
I got the badge now as well. So
you had that Bo Brummie tattoo done, and then literally 2 weeks later, he went for Botox, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, that was the problem. Wasn't it? I found out Nick had it, so I got it removed. No, they changed him. They give him a makeover, didn't they? Well, I don't know if that was.
I don't know about a makeover. It's a make down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have we got? Have you done a who for tonight, Chris?
Oh, sorry, I haven't. No, I just didn't get.
We've only got one job.
Yeah, no worries. How long have you got, Claire? We don't want to take up too much of your evening if you've gone out for a meal. How long have you got?
I've got about 2 or 3 minutes.
No worries. I asked,
waiting for starters.
Just quickly before you came on, I asked at the start of the show, after Jay Stansfield's just done it this season, how many players can we name that have scored for and against us in the same season?
Can I just say somebody put on the board pretty much straight away, Ricky Otto? That one doesn't count.
It does.
It does. It counts.
It does.
Same game.
I'll give you that one. There's a couple I thought of as well, but obviously I don't want to spoil it for everybody else. But I don't think there's many,
No.
Nah.
I can't think of many more than the ones I've thought of. But that, it could go back further. Alan, where are you at with this question?
I did think of one last night, but I've forgotten what it was. But I'd just like to say, Claire, I heard that David Beckham was asking where you were.
I wish I would have been straight there. I mean, what a man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I am sorry for the poor substitute that took your place earlier on, Claire, but, best we could do.
So Don Kavanagh has said Steve Claridge. Daniel Ryan has said Jermaine Pennant. Dave Twine, Bowyer for Leeds.
Oh, yeah.
But he didn't play for us in the same season, did he? Scored against us in 2002 and didn't play for us till 2008.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm not on about the players that have scored for and against us. I'm on about the players that have I'll give him
Stern John, maybe. Did Stern John do it when he was Forest?
Stern John.
I think Stern John's one, yeah. I'll give him Steve Claridge, though. I think that's one. Because he went on.
Yeah, Leicester in the FA Cup. He scored against us. Leicester.
I've just got to read out the last message on the board. It's a bit of a warning here, but a certain Holly Williams has said, Claire, get off. It's time to go. Don't know what that means, Claire. But...
I know. I'm getting like... But all I wanted to say is that we had our Blues Masters meeting the other day, and there is so much more to come. It's going to be brilliant. And we had Gary Cook there, we had John Clark there, and the ideas we were coming out with, and just discussing many things. Like the 150 years top's already been designed. So they'll be getting that already done. We knew about the Nike deal. There's so much more to come with all the deals and everything, so it's exciting times.
Brilliant.
Wow.
Right, Claire, we'll let you go.
Have a good night, Claire.
You're in on
I'll
Monday,
be off to Rotherham on Saturday, so I'll let you know how it goes.
Give us your prediction very quickly then before you jump off.
I think we'll win 2-1.
Okay, that'll do, mate. All right, Claire, have a good evening. Happy
Cheers. Bye.
All of it.
Have come through on the message board as we were doing that. So Robbie Savage.
Yes, that's one I thought of, yeah.
Pesh apparently scored for... Dom Kavanagh said he scored with Karen and the Baggies. Does that count?
I'll edit that bit out.
That's it. Jason Gatehouse has said, Did Juki score against us and for us?
Not in the
same season.
The chairman.
Not in the same season.
Maybe one for you to confirm here, but Bob Latchford scored for Everton and Birmingham.
Must have, Alan.
Oh, he certainly scored against us. I wouldn't say it was the same season because I don't. No, the transfer to send him to Everton was in the old March transfer deadline. And I don't think he would have played against us before the end of that season. But he certainly, the first time he came to St Andrews, he scored inevitably. But I don't think he did it in the same season. I'll tell you one that's got me thinking. Remember Alan Johnston we had on loan?
Yeah, Sunderland.
And then he went to Bolton on loan and definitely scored against us. Now, whether he'd scored for us, I don't know, but he certainly played against us and for us in the same season, and he scored for Bolton.
Kevin Francis, you saying that? Kevin Francis springs to mind as well as maybe one that had scored for Stockport before he come to us. Possibly, I'd have to look back on that. Rowan Vine, isn't it?
Rowan Vine, definitely. That's the one I was thinking. Yes, definitely Rowan Vine. Yeah. He scored. We lost 3-2 at Luton, and I think he got 2. And then he scored. I got a feeling. No, he didn't. Derby. He got the winning. Got Derby. He got the winner against Derby. Yeah. And I think that was his only goal.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Rowan Vine, definitely.
Good question, isn't it?
Yeah.
What about Delia Debola? He was at Crewe, wasn't he? And we played. I think probably not actually. I think he scored at Crewe for us. Didn't it? Was that his debut against Crewe that he just signed for us from or something? If I remember, was he Crewe for us? Or Wales there? I remember. Well, Ricky, we mentioned there Ricky Otto. Obviously, he scored for both teams on his debut, but also I was at his ground when he was at his old club and he absolutely demolished us and then signed for us. Yeah. So, actually, you could argue he did it twice. Yeah. But all the best as well to Ashley Cole, obviously in his new role with the FA. He's obviously left us to move on into that, and Jonathan Grimes has been promoted into his role as well. From what he was doing with
Tom Huddleston came. Tom Huddleston came today as well.
So Tom Huddleston is our assistant head coach now, isn't he? Along with obviously Chris Davies and Jonathan Grimes, his first team coach, which is what Ashley Cole was doing before. So all the best to those two with those roles, and welcome to the. I'm going to say welcome to the love train because that's what it is now. A few other names: John McCarthy scored for Port Vale and for Birmingham in the same season. Did he really?
He scored for York.
We signed him for
Ryan Hughes. I think he's a great shout.
Hughes did him Wrexham. He scored the FA Cup, and then he come.
Did he score though in that season when he signed originally in that half a season in 96?
I think he probably would have got one.
Yeah.
And Dom Kavanagh said, did the horse score for Fulham earlier in the season against us? And then?
No, because he signed in the summer, ready for the 2001 season. But that's a good effort, though.
He did score
that season before, didn't he?
Fulham game where Dan Collingwood played.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, he got 2 in that. And got
that's when Lazaridis scored that free kick, wasn't it? When Stan scored the free kick.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I remember that well. Yeah. Have we got any other questions? Any questions on YouTube, Chris?
Yeah, there's quite a few. Big chat going on there. Yeah.
Hang on a minute. What about Dwight York?
What about him?
Who?
We signed him from Manchester.
What about him? I mean, he signed from Australia, so that couldn't be the case.
No, mate.
Not Dwight York. No, because he scored for. We got him from Blackburn, didn't we?
He scored. Yeah, that was 3 seasons before.
Yeah, it wasn't the same season. Come on, Mark, wake up.
Where'd you get your shirt from, Rob?
It's really weird. He's got quite a sky blue colour to it.
Yeah. What we got then, Chris? What other questions you got, mate?
Just going back to the atmosphere as well. Matthew Tompkins on YouTube says the guy from the LA stated it was the best atmosphere he'd ever experienced, including in the USA prior. He was at the Spurs versus Arsenal match and said the atmosphere was even better at the Blues game.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's quite a lot going on about the atmosphere there. Before we move any further, we need a shout out to Bick and the guys at Blues for All, who are up for an award at the Asian Football Awards.
Oh, brilliant.
Unfortunately, it's one of those competitions, we know all about that, where you're not judged on merit, but you're judged on votes. So if you can go to our group page and flick down to about 10 posts down and go on to the Asian Football Awards and vote for Blues for All. Please vote for them. They do so much work, don't they, Craig? They're incredible. Incredible.
It's phenomenal what they do.
It is.
And it's not just the men's game either. The Bick and the team, their involvement with the ladies' game is also second to none. So, yeah, definitely, had my vote already, but please vote for the guys.
Yeah. All the best with that to Blues for All and Vic. Great people as well, yeah. Know Vic quite well, he's a great bloke. So would we make any changes then to the team on Saturday from what started on Monday night? Obviously, Bielik's got to drop out because he's got 1 game suspension. So do we think Ben Davies comes straight in for him at centre-half, or could anyone else go there, or what do you think?
Possibly. I think going back to the keeper, Paul, I think there is a shout for the keeper. It wouldn't be a surprise.
But I think he'll stick with him still, I do. That's
I think he'll sort of guide him through this sort of rocky period.
To me, you can't change the goalkeeper after you've lost your centre half because it would unbalance things too much. And I'm not siding for Peacock Farrell at all here in terms of it, but actually, when you watch the goal, there's definitely him being impeded. Which, if that was in the Premier League or under any sort of game with VAR, would have been ruled off. So, I think we've got to. Every goalkeeper for me, we haven't got the world's best. You know what I mean? I think we spent £1 million on the pair of them. So we're not going to have the best. But he made some saves afterwards that kept us in it. And he has been behind some phenomenal saves and some phenomenal work that ultimately has kept us in other games as well. So he's got to be given a go. But I do agree, if there is one more cock-up, then, perhaps there will be a change. But I don't think it'll come this weekend. Going back to it, I think Davies will slot in. The question for everybody, who's going to be our captain? Who would you put as captain there?
Clara. He'd be my captain.
Alfie May, I think I will give.
I think Alfie May will have it because he had it against Walsall, didn't he? But I would give it to Clara. I think he's an absolute colossal at the back. He's amazing.
100%.
Yeah.
Or even Cochrane.
Yeah. Not a bad shout. Yeah. But no, I mean, none of our players were really appealing for a foul, were they, on the keeper when they scored? There was nobody at all appealing.
I looked at it 2 or 3 times today because you mentioned it yesterday in the tweet, and I had a look. And actually, the goalie pushed their bloke. Yeah. And it was a fact that he was still pushing him when the ball's coming over. So he finished up with a poor clearance. But the bloke was 6 foot plenty, and he didn't push him very far. He didn't clear him out. And he finished up struggling. And you need. I mean, as a goalkeeper, you need to clear. You have to be bigger.
You got to come.
That's right. Before the kick's taken, you shove him out the way. Yeah. The referee comes over and wags a finger, and then the big bloke doesn't do anything because he knows he's being watched.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen.
As a goalkeeper, when players are in your zone, if you like, your area, you have to be the boss, don't you? You've got to step up and dominate. And I don't think he did that there, unfortunately. But I don't want to criticise him. Like you say, he has made a couple of saves.
I thought he had, from the second minute onwards, he had a very good game. Yeah, he made two good saves, which he made look easy. Yeah. He took all his crosses.
Yeah,
he didn't get caught under the crossbar again.
No,
and he was fine. It's just annoying that we've got to start from a goal down virtually every match.
But if we're going to come back,
sorry, Paul, to comment on the board, which I think was probably an area we will come on to anyhow. But worth raising now as we're talking about players, and we've mentioned Bielik, Darren losing him for the next game. But what's everybody's views on ultimately what started that melee, which is, it can't be defended when you see Mullins at one point looking as though he's going to take a chunk out of his leg and then realising the cameras are watching, and also during that melee, a certain individual whose name, full stop, doesn't deserve to be mentioned on this show, but taking a swing at Leonard as well,
that was...
I cannot stand that bloke.
That whole...
I don't want to say his name, but I cannot stand him.
That whole part, there's 2 things. I love the fact that Bielik got up, stuck up for himself, but then every part of the team did it. I also love the fact that Tom Brady is sitting there applauding the fact that his team are backing him and are behind him.
Yeah.
But as far as I'm concerned, again, you go back to a Premier League game of VAR, that guy's sent off and he's not banned for 3 games, it's a lot more. And if the EFL and FA have seen the evidence, they have to act, and not just act on the one. They have to act on both. It's a disgrace if they get away with it. And it's simple. You know, you don't want to see that on a professional game, because that sort of thing, you know, you don't even see it from kids. So why the hell have we got adults looking as though they're going to take a chunk out of somebody else? It's not on.
That's ridiculous. I absolutely loved his face was a picture. When he Walter scored, if you look at the replay, I'm not going to say his name either, but when you look at his face behind him after we scored the third, it's just an absolute picture, and it was so wonderful to see it as well, weren't it?
Yeah.
Can I just put my theory in about what caused? First of all, there was that collision, and they finished in a heap on the floor, and the Wrexham player got annoyed that he couldn't get up because Cochrane's leg was on top of him. That's when he tried to bite it. But the thing escalated because I got the impression sitting here in my bedroom that Wrexham didn't like having the piss taken out of it. Because that's what was happening. We kept the ball for so long.
We was.
That they were so frustrated. They wanted to, they wanted to fight everybody. And again, it's just another thing that I enjoyed about the performance. You know, they were so good that the opposition started getting ratty with us because, I think they really thought we were taking the piss.
Yeah.
And we were in a sense, but I don't think he was doing it deliberately. We was doing it at Leeds United all them years ago, but we just kept the ball away from them, and I was so frustrated.
I mean, we were doing Olays, weren't we? We were like 25 minutes to go. It was wonderful.
We were singing it, weren't we? With Birmingham City, we're taking the
Yeah.
It's all right, Mark. You can say
Alan's
the chairman
said
it 3 times. We'll just leave it there.
we're taking the Mickey.
It's just giving me more and more work to do tomorrow.
But the stats don't lie either, because you're talking there about what them getting wound up. But the one, possession means nothing. But the one that does mean the big difference is, number one, the pass completion rates and the numbers of passes. And we doubled the amount of passes that Wrexham made during the whole of that game. Now, we've been crying out for football and for people to actually play football, from some knocking about. I never dreamed we'd see that sort of stats. And that's continued throughout the start of the year. It's absolutely phenomenal. And Chris Davies did nominated for the manager of the month, didn't he? And May was nominated for the player of the month. For me, I think Parkinson won it, if I remember rightly, as the Wrexham manager. But we played a game less. Overall, the team's been better. So I'd love to know how that all came about. But, bring on next month when he gets nominated again. And you can just see it, the way it's going. Somebody passed comments at the beginning on the message board. We all joked about going a season unbeaten. We all said it happened.
One of the stats, Craig, the 2 midfielders, Paik and Iwata, made over 80 passes each.
Oh, brilliant.
Wow.
At about 90% completion. And Bealey made 110 passes.
Wow.
Now, I can't remember what I saw this on, but whoever it was made the comment. He said it can go back a season ago, and the team didn't make 100 passes in the game.
No.
And now we got 3 blokes, over 200 passes, but 3 blokes, over 200 passes between them at about a 90% completion rate. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. And I agree with what you said, Craig. The possession's all very well, but the ability to move the ball around the pitch over and over again, and the opposition are chasing shadows is phenomenal. Again, just another.
Like I always say though, if you do all this well and you don't put the ball in the back of the net, it's like a fart that don't smell.
Exactly right.
Ladies do that all the time, Paul, apparently. I don't know whether you're told that, but I am.
Can you say fart? Are you allowed to?
No piss.
This show's disgusting tonight.
It is. Here's a question for you. Considering where Wrexham are, is there anybody on that team you'd take?
No.
I wouldn't change their.
I wouldn't change any of their players for us. No.
And thinking about it, I'm on the same, but thinking about it, isn't that incredible?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It's unbelievable. Honestly, it's unbelievable what they've done. 17 new players, and every single one of them is bringing something to the party. And you know, did we think we'd ever say that? You know, in every single transfer window, even back in the Premier League days, we had, you know, we made poor signings, didn't we? We had players that weren't good enough or whatever. I know we're in League One now, but they've prepared us to just dominate this division, and then some. You know, and next season I think we'll be well prepared. We will need additions next season, don't get me wrong, but I think, you know, a lot of those players, in my opinion, are good enough to kick us on to the next level in the Championship from where we've been for years.
I'd give Road to them, Chris. Does that count?
Paul, we had a discussion about players we would and wouldn't take. Start of the season, we were talking about Plymouth and Sheffield Wednesday. Now, the Albion are top of the Championship, right? Is there anybody in their side that you'd... Well, I'd love to have him. Can you think of anybody?
I don't know many of their players now, to be honest. So I think Darnell Furlong's probably a better right back than Laird, arguably.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I don't really know. Alfie Mowat, they got... Is it Mowat, is it?
Mowat.
Not a bad player. And Jed Wallace as well. He's a decent player. They're good wide goal-scoring players, aren't they? But I
goalkeeper's not bad. I've got to say it. I'd say the keeper.
I'd take the keeper. Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is that just in our division, I don't think there's one player in our division that we would replace any of our starting 11 with at this moment in time. In the division that we're in now, you can all say Championship or Premier League. There's players in there that definitely would get in the side, but in our division, there's not one player I would go, we need him to strengthen what we already have. Even our bench, I think our 7 on the bench are as good as what's in that League One right now.
No, that's right, yeah. I think, you know, before Stansfield signed for us, you might have said Louis Barry at Stockport, who's on loan from them up the road, possibly. But now,
of course,
Stansfield, we don't need him.
Yeah.
The scary thing is, we've got phenomenal players that can't make, as Mark said earlier, the 18.
No, right.
I mean, Chris Davies has such, you know, the pressure's on him to get the team back up. The pressure's on him to choose that right team.
Yeah.
There's arguably as much pressure at making sure that he can also keep the squad as happy as he possibly can. And, you know, there are people that are just sitting there going, when am I going to get a chance? You know, it's scary when we've got those players out. When they come back, do they get straight in? Dion Sanderson, does he get on the bench? You know, does Laird, honestly, as it stands, deserve to be straight back in the team?
No,
you don't change a winning team. So
Buchanan's a team.
Buchanan
doesn't come back in either.
You know, they've got to fight, and it's actually quite hard because they're not going to get the game time to actually fight and do it. Apart from, we all joked about it, but the Johnson's Trophy or Bristol Street Trophy, whatever it's called nowadays,
Bristol Joe.
That's their opportunity. Djukovic, I mean, Djuki's not even mentioned now.
No.
And the only games I think he is honestly going to get is going to be the Bristol Street Motors.
Yeah. But even then, Craig is on the bench.
I don't think he will now. He's out with Dykes now. I don't think he'll play.
He only played in that against Walsall the other week. He only got 20 minutes.
And actually, huge shout out for Dykes because I thought he was great when he came on. And his work rate again is absolutely superb. He is a young Djukovic.
Absolutely right.
Yeah. Is there an argument for Sanderson to come in? No, not Sanderson. Sorry, Keshi Anderson. There's no argument for Sanderson to come in. Sorry, he's not going to get in ahead of Clara or Bielik at the back. If he was fit for Saturday, he might have a chance of coming in for Bielik. But Keshi Anderson, is there an argument for him to come in for Hansen? And what have we thought of Hansen so far this season?
Blows hot and cold for me.
Hot and cold, yeah.
So
I would keep Hansen. Honestly, I'd keep him in there. I think he's Just an out-and-out winger. I like Anderson, but I think Anderson, like we said, Anderson and Leonard are unlucky. I just think that Hansen gives you that little bit of the wing play that we need. I'm looking at it. I'm looking at the squad right now. I think the only one, even on the bench, I think the only one I would change is I'd bring in Yokoyama for Scott Wright. Because I think that's where he probably leaves him out because he puts Wright on the bench and it's the same type of player. But I think the young Japanese kid will give us more than what Wright will, but I think that's the only one I would really change. And then obviously probably bring Laird back in if he was fit at right back. But apart from that, like you said, Sanderson's nowhere near now, is he? Hopefully Davies can step in and do a job. I haven't really seen Ben Davies play too much in the last couple of years, honestly. But I think he can step in and do a job on the weekend, and we will miss Bellick. For sure. I think that's the only disappointment of Monday night was losing him, late on in the game. But it's nice that it's only a 1-game ban, and the games in this league with the cup games and the Bristol Street Motors and everything, they just keep turning and turning, don't they?
Well, yeah.
So we're going to play so many games this season. We are going to need a big squad.
I thought Gardner Hickman did well as well at right back on Monday night.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I was surprised he was in ahead of Samsted.
Yeah.
But yes, I have to say the manager got it right. Samsted did okay when he came on. And, I said in my blog, I looked and I thought, well, I don't agree with that. But as long as the manager keeps winning the games, I don't care. You can put anybody in. But we'll all have our opinions on different people. But it's the manager's choice, and he keeps getting it right. Carry on, son. Don't listen to me.
That's right. Yeah.
Interesting comments around Hansen actually on the board at the moment. Warren Wasser-Starling has said he likes him, but he feels that he hides. And I think, he's got the beating of so many players. The one thing for me was, Monday night, he had the beating of the player, but he didn't whip the ball in as quickly as what he could have done. And when we've got the strike force and the power moving forwards that we have, that's what a winger really should be doing. Getting past the player, whipping that ball in first time. And, don't necessarily put it in the air, put it across the floor, because they're actually more dangerous than anything else. There's a few people saying that Clara and Davies will be the pairing on Saturday.
Yeah.
Possibly, yeah.
100%.
Fraser Higgins, Craig, would Luke Harris get back in? I forgot all about it.
That's a great show.
Yeah.
So we're talking about a kid that's on loan from a Premiership side in Fulham, and he can't get in our team. It's scary.
It's crazy.
He's good at the moment, isn't he? But when he comes back, is he getting back in the 11? I mean, after that performance on Monday night, it's going to be difficult. Yeah. But Hansen reminds me of a little bit Jesper Gronkiel so far.
Yeah.
He gets in good positions, but then he wants an invitation to cross a ball, or he has to cut it back again, or you know what I mean. I don't want to criticise the lad too much because like I say, I always give him at least 12 games to settle in and then have a proper opinion. But he just needs to improve on that, as you say, Craig. His final ball, his delivery, and just whip the ball in, get it over. Because you've now got.
You know what?
Yeah, go on, mate.
Sorry, Paul. You know what I like about him? He did, defensively, when he picks the ball up in his own half, he pretty much gets into the other team's half quick with the ball.
Yeah, he's quick.
He runs out of ideas when he gets probably to the byline and wants to cross it, but he does get that ball from their half to our half quick.
Yeah.
And it starts that transition for us. And what we do well there is Cochrane's always been behind, so when he does turn, he can lay back off. And as we've seen on Monday night, Cochrane's got one hell of a cross, hasn't he? Because that one he did, I haven't seen a better one than the one he done for Stansfield on Monday.
To me, he didn't try.
Just going heading in.
Natural. It was absolutely natural, as was the header, by the way. That was harder opportunity than people realise.
Question from the boy in blue. It says for the panel, do you think we have clicked yet or nearer as the weeks go on?
We said it earlier. We haven't gelled, have we?
No.
Not yet. Not fully. We're getting better every game. Every time we play now, we're better than what we was in the previous game. But I don't think we're the finished article just yet. I think that'll come sort of around Christmas time, and someone's going to get an absolute tonking. Yeah. And I'm talking like 6 or 7.
To be honest, Paul, I can see that happening a couple of times. I think we're going to get a couple of big scores this season, the way it's going.
Yeah. It happened last time.
We're going to annihilate a couple of teams.
I remember Blackpool when we was in this division last time, 7-1.
Yeah, 7, yeah.
You know, something like that's going to happen, honestly.
It's going to happen.
And they scored first.
Yeah.
And they scored first, yeah.
They scored first.
Yeah.
If I was to put a percentage behind where we are at the moment, I think we're playing at about 75-80% of our true capacity.
Really?
Yeah.
And that, to me, you know, you've got international breaks coming up again. It's still daft that we get them so quickly. But once they're out the way, and like you say then, Paul, I mean, November, December time, that's when we might see the true side of it. But really scarily, that's when people say that you can normally predict how your league is going to end. So if we haven't peaked by the time we get to Christmas, and we're in that top position, or, you know, in that top half, I can't say top half, that's got to happen. But, you know, the top 6, how scary is that thought? And like you say, so 18 or maybe more are going to take a tonking. Absolute tonking. And Chris Brown, you need to be scared.
I am. I am. And it's getting cold as well.
I think we need to be careful, because some people might think we're not being realistic.
You know, I think that's not very nice, Rob. Honestly, that.
No, we can't get too carried away. We're not being realistic here.
So listen, and this is the thing. Like, I think what we are seeing is we're seeing a group of players that are believing in what the manager wants, his philosophy and his style and his system. And you are seeing it getting more comfortable each week. But like I said earlier in the call, it's difficult because everybody's on a high right now. And we talk about being unbeaten all season. I expect us to probably get beaten at least one game.
Yeah.
And I just want to make sure that I want to make sure that the fans and everybody, after that game, there's going to be disappointment there, but we still got to believe in the system and what we're trying to do, because we're going into it now unbeaten. We've just gone off probably one of our best performances in years against Wrexham. Not that I believe we're going to get beat at Rotherham, but if that does happen, then you've still got to come on the show next week and have the same belief as we had, this week. So, it is going to be there. We have to take, in this division, we have to take every game as it comes. I'd love to get to Wembley in that Bristol Street Motors Cup. We've got to win the next 2 games in that to get out of the bracket. Now also beat Fulham. So you just got to I think we just got to take every game as it comes. And the more they win and the more confidence they get, it's going to be easier for everybody, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. No, it's I think you said it earlier, Craig. I don't remember being this excited about being a Blues fan.
Just one thing, Paul, before that 7-1 against Blackpool. I can't remember his name, but the Blackpool player.
Mr. Chairman, we've lost you sound.
Come back a bit.
I was you're underwater.
That's right.
In a yellow submarine, I think.
Are you back now? You're back now.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Against Blackpool, 7-1. The guy that scored the Blackpool goal scored an own goal for us as well. So he's another one.
Yeah. He's another one who scored against us and for us the same season.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
We talk about how good it is now. It's not long ago we were going for the jugular on the appointment of Rooney, etc. I know. 12 months is a long time in football, isn't it?
I know, yeah. And let's not forget we were relegated as well. Who would have thought that we would have had this after relegation,
Yeah.
Well, not just that. Three home games.
Yeah.
3 sellouts.
Yeah.
Peterborough is not far off another sellout.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, it's just weird. And there's people now, as soon as that was announced that you can, no more Wrexham tickets, all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, let me know when they come on that resale side of things. I want my ticket. And then you got, have you got any spare? We've got to go. We've got to be there.
What worries me is that people are only going, maybe they're only going because they know we've got a great chance of winning. Do we think this is going to happen in the Championship, where there might be a few where, don't fancy myself in that one, so I might not go?
Let's see. Let's wait and see. Let's get there and find out.
Yeah.
But for me, away games as well, getting tickets for an away game now, it's probably easy to get away tickets.
Yeah. Got no chance.
Got no chance.
So
it's ridiculous unless we're going to get a following of like 3,500, 4,000.
Yeah.
When you get to that, that's when people generally will say, okay, it's going to get to general sale, so we might be able to go. You know, I'll be honest, I'm one of those people. I'm looking at the games, I'm looking at the fixtures thinking, when are we going to get a big following? Like, so you look at the likes of Wigan, Barnsley, Bolton. You look at them, you're going, I might be able to go and watch them games.
Yeah.
But then forgetting that there's probably, another 1,500 to 2,000 people going, we're going to get tickets for that one. So it's brilliant, though. It's home and, you could go home and away and have sellouts in every single game.
Yeah.
You know what I think is amazing is the fact that, even the season ticket sales this year have been up pretty much a lot more than what they were. And it seems as though, like, the owners came in last year have been fantastic, right? We made a mistake bringing Rooney in, and the relegation and everything else that we probably shouldn't have got relegated last year. But the fact is, it's like it's been forgotten about, isn't it? It's like this is all new. And we said everything happens for a reason. And it feels like, and I know Robe said this a few weeks ago, it's like a reset button, isn't it? And they're just everybody's now got that excitement and love and passion and everything back. And I remember even in 95, and I was 11 years old then, but that 95 season was just amazing. Every game, you just was going. Yeah. You expected to. You had confidence in the team to win. You didn't think anything else. You went to Wembley that year and stuff like that, and that buzz is really back again. It's great to be involved in. Yeah.
You can even look back at that team, and you can say, at the back we had a colossal in Liam Daish. Now we've got a colossal in Christoph Clara. We had we had a fantastic holding midfielder in Mark Ward. Now we've got Pake, Andy Walter, and Leonard. We had Louis Donovan on the wing. We've got Keshi Anderson, and we've got. I'm not going to put Hansen in that bracket just yet, but he's got the potential, the kid, to do well. But I'm not going to put him in that bracket just yet. But we had Jonathan Hunt. And now we've got Willem Williamson as well, who we haven't talked about tonight yet. I really love watching him play football. He's brilliant. Up front we had Steve Claridge, we've got Alfie May and Jay Stansfield. It's Kevin Francis obviously about then as well, and there's comparisons, isn't there, in some ways? You've got strengths in the same sort of areas of the team.
The game from that season, I think, was the game for that season for me, which was the same sort of game as Monday night, was the Brentford home game 3 days after we won the cup.
Yeah, 3 days after.
We beat them 2-0 and pretty much got us the championship. That pretty much got us up at least in second place before we got the championship. It was that same atmosphere when Daish scored that header in the second half. It was
brilliant.
It was unbelievable.
A great shape by Warren Starling is that he has a feeling that at Christmas the half-season ticket sales will take us to the maximum that we can have.
Yeah,
but I don't think we can be far off that now. There's over 18,000 season ticket holders.
18,300, I think. 18,300 and something.
There ain't going to be many. There ain't going to be many tickets left for general sale after Christmas. If we like it, you get 2,000 or 3,000. You'll be looking to get one if you ain't got a season ticket.
I've just thought on the spot of another question. Okay, and I know we've only got 10 minutes, but if we did a combined 11 of the 94-95 squad and this squad, I would take Cochrane at left back over Gary Cooper.
Yeah.
I would take Benno in goal as well.
Benno in goal, yeah.
No,
I'd play Daish centre back, and then I'd move Belly probably into midfield.
You play Daish and Clara centre backs. Is that fair?
Gary Paul right back. Gary Paul
or Laird. That's the debate, isn't it? Mark Ward's got to be midfield. If we're playing this formation, are we playing 4-4-2? What are we doing? This goes out to the viewers as well, obviously.
Okay. Go back to retro 4-4-2.
Yeah, Jose Dominguez on the left, maybe.
Oh, is Jose better than what we've got at the moment?
Oh, Jose was better than Hansen, mate. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Was Ricky Otto better than Hansen?
No, I don't.
I was better than Otto.
No. You know what? Louis Donovan was worth a shout, though.
I'll defend Ricky Otto here. Ricky Otto had his bad days, but when he was effective. He put crosses in that people scored from. He scored goals himself. Now, this lad on the wing at the moment has not affected any part of the play. He hasn't created anything. He hasn't scored a goal.
No.
His general plays is fine, but he hasn't affected the game yet. And I think he will. He'll suddenly nick somebody and it's a shot with that right foot and it'll fly in the net and everybody, and he will suddenly come good.
Yeah.
That's all. That's what he needs. And Ricky Otto was the same. What a start he had. Scoring at both ends. And then on the Wednesday morning, he played at Cardiff in the pouring rain and scored the winning goal. Yeah. And he was a different person.
And the Liverpool goal.
Just a question. Yeah. Question to you, Paul. Obviously, Mark Ward. I'm agreeing with you in Mark Ward being one of the midfielders. But if you're playing 4-4-2, is it Paik? Is it Awata? Is it Bellick?
Is it Jonathan?
Those three get in any team, don't Hunt? They all get in any team, don't they?
Williamson, Tate. What about Tate? Paul Tate.
Peter Shearer.
That midfield is an overload of quality for two.
It's horrible to pick two strikers from Claridge, Francis, Stansfield, and May.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
And there's a few people saying we should revert back to this, Chris, when we get to the end of the season, and then see if there's a difference between the teams that we pick now and the team we'll pick then.
Who do you think would have won the game? If they played each other, who do you think would have won the game? 95 squad or this squad?
It would have a 0-0 written all over it because you'd have two defences that you wouldn't be able to get through.
Same managers.
The passion, the heart and the passion in that 95 team.
That was amazing.
It was amazing. So, God, what a question that is.
What a battle that is, man. Clara against Big Kev.
As well, we've got the ladies and, unbeaten start to the season. Only 2 games in, but, a phenomenal 5-0 win in the first game. We haven't really had a chance to speak about that. And it was dominant against a team that we struggled against the season before. So it was great to see that. And a very hard-fought 0-0 at the weekend down at Bristol. And taking into account Bristol were relegated, but have hardly changed their team. So, again, another good result.
We dominated that game.
Yeah.
We should have won it.
Should have won it. And this weekend, we're at home.
Great performance against that kind of opposition.
Indeed. And we're at home this weekend. Now, to put it into perspective, average was around between 800 and 900. 1,500 or just over were there for that very first game of the season. That's 1,500 people that are now paying that didn't before. So, we want to get more people down to the games. Sunday, 2:00 kickoff. If you can make it, and even if it's only for one game, come and have a look, see if you enjoy it, because the amount of new faces that I saw there myself was great. The family around it as well is there. And dare I say it, there's a drum. Right, that's the last time I mentioned it.
I know they're playing. Tonight, who are they playing?
We are playing Portsmouth. So it's going to be a good game. And again, Amy has got that team playing some great football. And, the new faces have come in and again, they're still gelling, but they're looking superb. So let's hope for another 3 points at the weekend and another good game. And again, if you can make it, come down. £8 for an adult, £2 for a kid.
Nothing.
You can get family tickets as well, so it's worth it just for the experience. And if it's not just that, get yourself down and come and have a Garrison coffee because Lee'll sort you out.
Yeah, but, half price.
Come down and I'll see you there.
Just very, very, very quickly before we move on, I need everybody's man of the match, so I'm going to keep a note of this every week. And that, okay, Alan, your man of the match for Wrexham.
I'm going to say Iwata.
Iwata. Mark Meredith.
I'll go Stansfield just for the goals, I think.
Stansfield. Paul.
Cochrane.
Mark Adams.
Cochrane.
2 votes.
Definitely, yeah.
Who won it on Scott?
Come on then, Craig.
Stansfield.
I was going to say I'd be the same as Paul and Mark. Cochrane for me was phenomenal.
So Cochrane. Okay. I'll try and keep a count of that every game.
I wouldn't have argued with anybody, though, if anybody was saying.
No. But maybe at the end of the season, we can give a little prize out and the club will help us.
Okay, just very quickly now, then, again, going back round the panel. Predictions for Saturday, Rotherham away, I'll start. I'll go for 3-1 Blues. Again, I'm going with another 3-1. Mark Meredith.
I'm going to 2-1.
Road.
I'm going to say our first clean sheet. I'm going to say 1-0.
Okay. Craig.
I'm going for a clean sheet as well, but I'm going to say 2-0.
Aren't they unbeaten? Are they unbeaten at home?
I'll go for 2-0 as well. We've got to get this clean sheet.
Yeah. Chris?
Yeah, I'll sneak a 1-0. Yeah, I'll be happy with that.
Okay. 4-0 Blues, Daniel Rowan. 4-0 to Blues. Imagine that. That'll be nice, wouldn't it?
Michael once has said 4-1 Blues. Ray Cornish, 2-0 Blues. 4-0 Blues. 4-0 seems to be a good score. Steve Portman saying 5. Ian Clayton, 4-0.
Yeah.
We want 6. We want 6.
No,
hey, look, keep that to yourself, Mr. Meredith. We don't want 6.
We don't want 6.
No. Some of the girls, well, no, actually, no. Some of the boys as well. Might.
And then we'll do it live in the studio as well. That show.
Oh God, yes.
We should do it at the Mecca. We should do it at the Mecca bingo.
I watched the under 21s yesterday. Beat Millwall 4-1. Start of the show, the young goalkeeper. We could have been 3-0 down in 20 minutes. He pulled off 3 blinding saves, one-on-ones.
Say it, Paul. Say it.
Pardon?
Is that Mayo? Was that Mayo?
Mayo, yeah.
He spread himself so well. Really spread himself well.
And there we go. It's 9:00 and it's all finished. Paul.
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
It's 8 o'clock and it's all finished.
Final whistle.
Yeah.
No stoppages.
No stoppages.
Okay. So we've been the Tilton Talk Show. Thanks everyone for watching. Less time to wait for the next show because we'll be back on Monday.
Yeah.
It's a good night from obviously sponsored by AMG Logistics as always now, and I'm always pleased to say that. And good night from me, and it's good night from Mark Adams.
Oh, good night, everyone. Have a good week.
Yeah.
Mark, right then. All right. Yeah, I'll pass on. It's good night from me. It's good night from Mark in America.
Hey, Mark was shocked he was second. That was the thing. It's a good night from me. It's a good night from Alan Watson.
It's a good night for me, and it's a good night from Paul, I think. No, we've had it.
He started.
Chris, you took over from
Chris,
Mark.
well
Come
done.
on, Mr. Chairman.
And I think I've got this right. It's a good night from me and it's a good night from Craig.
And it's a good night for me and Harley's dogs, Mark Meredith's dogs, Mark Adams, whoever's house you're in, dogs.
Big
And
shapes.
it's a good night from Claire Giblin as well.
Yes, of course, yeah. And Dance.
And Dancer, yeah.
And Mark Rove's Coventry retro jersey he's got from DH Gate.
Give Dance a challenge word, shouldn't we, for his commentary? Why didn't we give him a challenge word for his commentary?
Yeah.
Should have got him to say unbelievable or something.
Yeah.
The 1 minute 20 seconds, it's Coventry 0, Spurs 0.
I'm glad we found that out.
Let's go for a 16-15 penalty shootout.
Oh, yeah. Insane.
Yeah. Chris, would that have counted? More than 6 goals?
No.
How do you reckon Monday night will be in the Wrexham document? That'd be good, wouldn't it?
I think Rule 6, Paragraph 5, it's got to be 6 clear goals. By the same scorer.
What do you reckon?
You reckon Holly's wearing one of those phones on her head so Claire can watch the show like when they're eating?
Yeah, secretly playing a competition. Who's on the screen now?
I hope Claire stays near bread roll.
Gotta be warm.
Yeah.
I hope we're in the Wrexham documentary from Monday night. Do we just ask that question? What do you reckon, Mark Meredith? We're going to be in there.
I hope so, yeah. I think I'll be on it,
yeah.
They'll have to put a special thing on though to prevent you from showing Mark Adams, won't they? I mean, they'll have to put a warning for the kids.
Aye.
Don't scare yourselves. You'll be watching it.
I'm just thinking where Dan Park's actually. Don't I know what he drives?
Good night.
Somebody on your drive, Mark. Get out quick.